And actually, just want to quickly start off with your views on the recently concluded World Cup. I mean, how do you think Pakistan did in it? Were you disappointed, satisfied, and really, how did you rate Afridi as a captain in it?
To start with, I think we had a tremendously successful World Cup
Right.
because for a team which hasn't really had a great last year and also starved of international cricket at home, playing all the matches away and in foreign conditions, to finish up in the top four is a huge achievement. And for them to top their table and then to be in the semi-finals I think was a huge success. Unfortunately, when two teams play, one has to lose. And in the semi-finals, the team that played well and eventually that went on to win the World Cup beat Pakistan. So I think we shouldn't be really thinking that we didn't have a good World Cup.
Right. And what do you think of Afridi as a captain in that World Cup?
He was very inspirational, and I think he motivated the players. He had some excellent qualities, like taking the team along with him, players responding to him well, and lots of positives. But unfortunately, I think he did make one or two grave errors, and that could be error of judgment, which every captain, I suppose, makes when he's captaining a side.
Right.
And unfortunately, he also made those error of judgments and paid penalty for that.
And what errors do you think? Just a few.
Continuing with Umar Gul in the semi-finals when he wasn't really bowling at his best. He had lost his confidence in the very early overs when he bowled a couple of overs to Sehwag. That was one, I suppose. And then also not trying to rotate the batting as it's required. There were times when he could have easily, probably not himself because he wasn't in the best of nick, but he could have changed the batting order and put in between Yunus and Misbah a striker who could, strikes the ball and who could have hit the boundaries.
Right.
He didn't do that, but this is all on hindsight.
Sure.
But by and large, I think he did reasonably well, yeah.
Right. Now, just quickly looking forward to or ahead to the tour of the West Indies. I don't know if you've heard of the ODI and the T20 teams that have been announced.
Yeah,
They've have an exclusion. I mean, they've excluded Kamran Akmal and Yunus Khan. How do you see this squad? I mean, then this new wicketkeeper Salman. I mean, how do you see the whole thing?
I can't comment on Salman because I haven't seen him.
Sure.
But obviously, I think there was a great need for change. And I think Kamran Akmal was sitting in the side or getting selected in the side purely because he could bat. So he was more of a batsman who can keep wickets because technically I think he's got huge faults. And the team was keeping him, the team was playing him because he was serving them as a batsman who can keep wickets. So I think the time has come after giving him so many chances that they should look for a wicket keeper. And if he can bat, that's a bonus. Otherwise, they need a specialist wicket keeper. And I believe this boy is there. There was another boy I read about, Sarfaraz.
Salman, I think.
No, there's a
other boy, yes.
wicket keeper called Sarfaraz, and I think he hasn't got selected.
Right.
But I heard a lot about him when I was in Pakistan. I believe he scored the highest number of runs and kept brilliant wickets. So he was the other contender. But I don't know, he wasn't selected, so I don't know for what reasons.
Right. And as you were saying with Yunus Khan.
Yeah, the amount of services they have given to the country and the amount of cricket they have played, it's always nice to hear that, instead of saying that they have been dropped or dumped, the selectors and the board are saying that they have been rested, which is a nice way, and it should be appreciated. But I think Yunus and both Misbah and Yunus, in fact, I think they should be be regular features in Test cricket rather than in one days.
Right.
And I'm a bit disappointed that Misbah is in the one day series,
Yes.
whereas I think he should have also been excluded from the one day squad because it will be totally unfair if he goes on and scores lots of runs, whereas
Yeah.
matches in the World Cup. He didn't deliver. I think a youngster should have been given a spot in his place.
True, true. Just in a related kind of question, in terms of the Pakistani team management, and obviously Waqar's name, comes up, and Intikhab as well. But how do you rate Waqar as a coach, and do you think it's time for him to be replaced, or should he continue with an eye towards the next one?
I see no reason why he should be replaced, because the credit that's gone to the team for reaching the semi-finals, the same credit should be given to him.
Right.
Because team management, if it doesn't do well, they are sort of criticized. But if the team is doing well, the credit for the team doing well first has to go to the players, then to the coach, and then to the selection committee, because they selected the right team.
Right. Okay.
So that's the, for me, these three departments are responsible for getting the rewards or getting the accolades. And also, if they don't do well, this is this line is the one which needs to be changed or needs to be criticized. Whereas the management of the board, which includes the chairman, the administrators, they have got nothing to do with the performances of the team. If they do well, it is the players who are doing well. It's nothing to do with the chairman of the board or the administrators of the board to go and wear garlands at the airport and give statements, because they have achieved nothing. It's not them who have done well.
Right.
It is the players, and for the players, the selection committee is responsible, and the team management is responsible.
True.
Regarding Bakar, I think he should be continued because he has done a good job. I'm not too sure having two coaches who are specifically bowling oriented.
Right.
Because Bakar obviously Bakar is an all-round coach. He's the head coach, but he's primarily a bowler. So it would be nice to have in place of another bowling coach, which I think, what's his name, Asif Javed.
Yeah.
In his place, if they can have a specialist batting coach and also a fielding coach, that is what is required.
Right, and actually that brings me really nicely to my next question, which was about Javed Miadad, because we heard that he had refused the appointment as the batting coach.
He has refused?
Yes, apparently, that's what we understand. I'm just wondering, that would have, in your view, been a good idea to have him along as a batting coach? Or
no, you see, I have always maintained that, first of all, coaching is a very specialized position. It's a specialized job. It's a qualified job. You have to be qualified to be a coach. Everybody, just because he's a great batsman, just because one is a great bowler, not necessarily be a good coach. You have to qualify to be a coach. And in coaching, obviously technicalities are involved and man management. It's not the experience of a batsman or a bowler that makes you a good coach.
Right.
If you look at the coach of Australia when they were at the top of the world for 10 odd years, Buchanan, I think, was the coach.
Buchanan, yeah.
And we never heard of him as a player.
Right.
So I don't subscribe to the view that you have to be a great player to be a great coach. In fact, Miadad can only share his experience with the batsman. He can explain to them the mental side of batting, and that is required. And I think Javed can motivate a player because he's that kind of a player. He's a great motivator, and to have him around is obviously going to be of great help to a Pakistan batsman. But to have him as a regular coach, I'm not too sure.
Right. Yeah. Okay, makes sense. Just moving on a bit towards the kind of the IPL kind of things. Now, I was recently watching a Sky program in which they were talking about the county cricket being in financial crisis, but yet a tournament such as IPL seems to have established itself in a relatively short period of time as almost like a phenomena, right? Now,
I haven't heard this, what you're saying. Who said that cricket is in a financial crisis? I've never heard that.
No, I was just watching a small preview of a documentary they were going to air on Sky. I didn't actually see the whole thing, but they were talking about how some of the clubs were actually suffering quite badly because of.
They may be talking about the English clubs.
English county. English, yes. So
yeah, I mean, we shouldn't be really. I mean, why should we be considered not considered? What's the word I'm looking? Concerned about how English clubs are doing, because that's a purely personal, not personal. That's purely a domestic affair.
No, I was just trying
international cricket. International cricket, I think, is in a very healthy state,
Right.
the ICC, and so are the cricket boards. They're all rich cricket boards, and ECB is also one of the very rich cricket boards.
Right.
If the clubs are not doing well, it's not because international cricket is not doing well. It's probably they're not big value for domestic cricket.
Right, right. But then just let's talk about IPL. I mean, how do you feel about IPL itself?
It's a domestic cricket, you know. Like in England, you have got Premier League football. It's raking in millions of pounds in revenue. And likewise, IPL is doing the same. It is less cricket and more money.
Right.
That's how I describe IPL as.
Brilliant, brilliant. And no, I just wanting to also get a feel from you about the exclusion of the Pakistani players. How do you feel about that?
I think it has got nothing to do with cricket.
Right.
Exclusion of Pakistani players, I think, has got other reasons other than cricket. Because for cricketing reasons, I'm absolutely sure that many Indians and many franchises would like to have these brilliant cricketers, the Pakistani cricketers,
right,
like the Afridis and the Razaks and the Umar Guls and Umar Akmal. But I think they have got problem regarding the availability of the players, in which I think you can also bracket the security concerns, the visa concerns, the availability because of the international commitments. For all those reasons, I think probably they have been excluded.
Right, right. And do you think is it? I mean, I think you did mention it. It is a loss for, I guess, for the league itself. But in terms
of course.
But in terms of, do you think it's unfair to the Pakistani players, or do you think that it shouldn't really bother them?
No, I don't think it's. You see, as I said, it has nothing to do with cricket.
Right.
It would have been unfair if it had something to do with cricket.
Right.
This is nothing to do with cricket. It's beyond cricket.
Right.
And I don't think anybody can be blamed for that.
True, true. And I mean, since you've had some experience in running the game, and just wondering, is there potential for any more IPL type tournaments, say in the UAE, where Pakistani players can possibly take part?
I think they'll struggle purely because of the availability of the players.
Right.
I believe there is a talk that some kind of 2020 league in UAE is going to be organized.
Right.
My only question is what time frame they're looking for, because I think cricket is now being played all the year round.
Right.
And international teams, will hardly have players available for these private